Hey everybody, it's Monday afternoon and I've actually got a couple of minutes to spare before I get out of here, and I thought I would take a quick tour around the yard. We got a few things going on that I want everybody to see, and they don't last long this time of year. And we got little Squeeker coming down, making his way through the bushes. He must have heard me come home. So first of all, you can see right where Squeaker just came through, we've got lots of phlox blooming now. All these bright pink flowers are phlox. We've got plenty left to bloom, but they are already going. Our echinacea, or purple cone flowers, are all starting to bloom, so we're getting a lot of those flowers. We're pretty much at peak flower right now, and that's why I wanted to take advantage of a little bit of sunshine we're getting this afternoon to actually see everything while it's in full flower. From here on out, it's going to be less and less. We will still have new flowers that open. These tiger lilies, for example, will be opening soon, but they still are not open. But just about everything else in the yard that flowers is. We've got the butterfly bushes are just beginning to go, so they'll be the next big wave of flowers that the butterflies and the hummingbirds and the hummingbird moth that was just out here a minute ago. I was hoping we'd actually get a little bit of that one on video again yesterday. I did shoot a video yesterday of a hummingbird moth that we see quite frequently out here, and it was just here a minute ago. I was really hoping it would stick around. It might even still be around somewhere on some of the other flowers. But speaking of other flowers, we've got some really cool daylilies that are finally starting to open. These up here look fairly common until you get a little closer. You realize they're double flowers, they're double heads on them. And by double, if you're not familiar, what I mean by that is it's actually got two layers of petals. I don't mean like it's got two flower spikes. It's got double layers of flowers. So that makes them interesting. Of course, we've got all of the coneflower. All of the hostas are starting to bloom. The bright red you see there is the bee balm. There's more of it up there. We actually got a surprising amount of deer damage as we made our way around. There's that hummingbird moth. I knew he'd come back. I'll put a link to that other video and you'll get a much closer look at that, but at least we got a glimpse of it, so you know it's not a one-time thing. I can actually still see it. It's over there buzzing around. So we do see that quite frequently around here. That's not an unusual little critter for us to see. There's, of course, Squeaker lying in the yard. So we've got lots of daylilies blooming. Hosta, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of something else. All these flowers here, all these purple flowers, these are all hostas, and you can see we've just got scads of them blooming right now. And if you look between them, we've got more phlox. These are really pretty with that pink center. We've got phlox up here that are just pure white. Those daylilies back there are really special. I like those a lot too. A couple that we've had daylily wise have already been and gone, and they've been pretty neat. Really dark red ones. Our hydrangea's finally starting to bloom. If you'll notice all the white flowers with the red in the middle, that's a hibiscus. That's our Rose of Sharon. We have those all over the place, and they're starting to bloom. We've got more phlox up here. And then, of course, we've got hostas and hostas and hostas flowering at the moment. We've got these phlox, which I didn't even notice until just now, that are pink with a dark pink center. That's interesting. These are phlox. They'll be blooming very soon. All these bright yellow flowers are coreopsis. Got more phlox here that'll be blooming, more phlox up there. I had no idea we had so much phlox everywhere. It must be a prolific reseeder, and it spreads itself, because we're terrible at deadheading. We hardly ever get out here and deadhead. And I mean, as a result, you can see how we have hosta that just grows out of the yard. I've decided to stop mowing, and we're going to let the hosta just sort of flow down the yard, and then that way I won't have to worry about all this stupid hill back here. This mowing this hill's been the bane of our existence being out here. So pretty soon we just won't have to worry about that anymore. We're going to let it cascade. So over here, still the same old stuff going on. It's just filling in more. The planters, of course, seems like we've lost our sun. I guess it'll be back soon enough. We just got a dark cloud moving over it. It's that time of year when sudden thunderstorms crop up. So these in the last video, I could not remember for the life of me what these are called. These are balsam is the other name for them. They are a type of impatient, but lady slipper is one of the common names for this that's not seldom used, because there's another plant called the lady slipper that it's very different than this. So these are generally referred to as balsam. These are the ones I'm talking about. And they'll get a really neat little seed pod on it. It's shaped like a football, and when you squeeze it, it'll pop and it'll shoot seeds everywhere and it'll wrap around your finger. And if you're not expecting it, it'll actually kind of scare you because it seems like it grabs your finger. So they're a lot of fun once the seed heads develop. But those are called balsam. I could not remember that in my last video. These, of course, are the rudbeckia, black-eyed Susans, Maryland State flower, more hostas. Not a lot going on over here right now. It's actually looking kind of rough. We need to get over there and do something about it. Oh, we do have our balloon flowers are actually blooming at the moment. These are really pretty, and they're called balloon flowers, I'm assuming because the flower bud looks like a balloon and it just sort of pops open and then you get this flower. And it's a really pretty little flower with very delicate little blue veins in it. Love it. So now we're getting to some of the good stuff. This is what I was hoping to see in the sunshine, is some of these daylilies that we've been trying to work in over here. Some of these are really awesome. This one down here is the same as another one we're going to see, so there's no sense in traipsing down there to see it. But this one is definitely worth the traipse. That is a gorgeous daylily right there. And you can see how many we've already sort of lost. That's why I wanted to try to get out here and get this on video while I could before they're all gone. They don't last long. So that's another stunning one. Really liking this one. This one here is amazing. These are all just awesome over here. A few years ago we decided we were tired of having nothing but those roadside orange. As much as we like the daylilies, we had all of that roadside orange just everywhere. And year by year we've been just buying different stuff that we like and planting it, and a lot of them have been planted right over here apparently. And again, I don't even know what most of these cultivars are called or anything. Honestly, I don't know what any of these cultivars are called. So this is like the one over there that I was pointing at, and it's really big. The flower buds look like small bananas. They look like little plantains, and then you get that huge flower on it. So these were doubles. It's kind of hard to tell now. They're really past their prime, but these are like the roadside orange, but they're doubles. So that makes them a little unique and special, I guess. But really, when you look at them, again, here's a couple more of them, and now compare them to these. I've got a whole sea of them right here. It's the same flower. These are just the singles. Again, not a bad flower. I'm not knocking it. It's just that when you've got nothing but these, and it's the same ones you see everywhere along the side of the road and everything, it gets a little more difficult to appreciate them. So I'm glad we're mixing it up and getting some different flowers in here. But as you can see, we have them everywhere, just like the hosta and hosta flower. I mean, you can see up here, we've got all that going on. So this is our little garden that welcomes us home. It's doing really well. This is coleus. These are caladiums. I'm sorry, this is more coleus. These are the caladiums over here. Those pink and green variegated flowers. Got lots of black-eyed Susans that have not come up yet. This is another daylily that's really pretty. It's like a creamy pale yellow. Here's another one of those enormous ones. And over here we have some of these that are also doubles. There's another one of them doubles. And so that is about it for this side of the yard. I guess it's worth just having a quick look. You see all the flowers in the trees. These are all Rose of Sharon. They're not really blooming yet. They're getting there. But right here over my new kayak, we've got these Rose of Sharon blooming. And then, I don't know if you can tell or not, but if you see those little light colored spots over there, that's actually Rose of Sharon blooming on the other side of the forsythia. So all of this down the driveway is Rose of Sharon, so all that'll be blooming. You can see all the hosta right there blooming. Hosta down there got munched by deer, so all this hosta is still blooming. So again, Rose of Sharon all along the front sidewalk up there. We don't really go out front of the house very often, but we do have a sidewalk and a front porch out there, believe it or not. And look, you can see from this side of the fence, you can actually see some of the hydrangeas in there blooming. I didn't even notice that through here. And the Rose of Sharon are really pretty. Again, it's just a hibiscus. But really, really pretty flowers. And I like the purple myself. All right. Let's go over to the other side of the yard, which we have for years called the Forbidden Garden, because a big tree, well, we'll stop here at our little mobile planter. See Squeeker down there lounging in the shade. So this is our Lady in Red salvia, and it's just starting to go. So this is going to be awesome. This is going to be just, it's going to be just covered in huge red flowers. And we can pick it up and wheel it around because it is a mobile planter. That's always a good one. I'm really excited about that, if you couldn't tell. So the Forbidden Garden had a big tree that fell over. It was kind of leaning up against the other trees, and I was always worried that it was going to fall and crush somebody or something. Well, last week we had so much rain, and apparently it was so dead and finally soaked up enough weight that you can see there is no more tree leaning up there. It is now down here. So it did some damage. You know, even these chunks here, that's big enough to crush somebody right there. So this whole tree coming down would have been scary. It would have been kind of neat, but it came right across our Enterprise and Captain Kirk, or James T. Kirk. I can never remember what it's called. It's either Captain Kirk or James T. Kirk. Got crushed. It'll all recover. We've just got to figure out a way to get this out of here, and then it'll all grow back. So we're not worried about that in the long run. We just got to figure out how to get it out of here. Used to have a glass top table over there that I never really figured out what I was going to do with it. It had an owl house on it. So the owl house is now an open top condo, and the mangled hunk of green metal there used to be the frame of what was once a table. And now, of course, we've got a bunch of glass over here we need to clean up. So that's what's going on over here in the Forbidden Garden, although we're going to have to give it a new name now because it's no longer forbidden. I guess we can actually use some of the broken pieces, the way we've already got sort of dead wood there as borders to highlight the walkways and everything. We can use some of these broken pieces for that. Something will get done with it. You know, it's just part of having a yard like this in the garden. Honestly, the whole reason the yard stops right there, if you see there's a fallen tree that we were never able to do anything with. I used to have to like mow all the way up into the corner, and once that tree fell, I couldn't get the tractor on the other side of it anymore, and so that became the new border of where the edge of the yard is, and everything sort of grew in behind it. So little by little, this yard's getting smaller and smaller, and that's fine with me. The more woodsy it is, the more private it feels, and the more woodsy it is, the less I have to do to maintain it. And I'm down with both of those things. I'm all about having the less yard work to do. So nothing really particularly new going on over here. I don't know if I've mentioned this one or not, but that is an oak leaf hydrangea we planted recently. It was doing a little sketchy for a day or two there when we first planted it. It was really dry and hot, but we watered it enough that it's sort of bounced back, and I'm not concerned about it at all anymore. But you can see we really got some significant deer damage over here. We have had a little bit more since I put the barrier in. I blocked the way the deer were coming in, and I don't think we're having too much more issues with it. But I mean, you can see there they did some fairly significant damage. And some of the stuff that really got me was stuff like this wasn't even in the ground yet. You know, that was a little microhosta, wasn't even in the ground yet, and they got it. So they got the flower off this little microhosta. We have connoisseur deer around here, apparently. That's another one. This hosta's really, really good looking. Has that really dark red stem on it with the bright green leaf like that. And they came and they munched all that up. So where I think they're now coming in, and I don't think it's a regular basis. I'm hoping it's not a regular basis. Once they discover this yard, if this becomes a destination for them rather than an occasional thing that they stumble into, we're in trouble. I'm gonna have to start spraying my whole property with my own deer repellent. But first thing I will do, this is a little cut through me and my neighbor used to get over to each other's houses real quickly. And if you've ever wondered about this mailbox, that address is a random address. It means nothing, but this is how I can leave stuff for him and he can leave stuff for me if we ever need to, you know, give everything to each other that's small. So what I think is happening is, you can see there's actually hosta growing right there in the, you know, the weeded area, wooded area, whatever you want to call it. But I think instead of coming in through the gap where I've blocked it off, there used to be a trail that I made for myself, and they were just coming straight up through there and into the yard. So I blocked that off. But for deer, you know, that fence right there, that's like you and I stepping over the curb. That's not even... that's nothing to a deer. So I do have some damage down here. You can see the tops of these weeds have all been eaten, but it's not a huge amount of it. And I think if they were coming over here regularly, they would just have wiped out all of this stuff down here. We'd see trails and hoof prints. I'd see droppings, and I'm not seeing a lot of that. So I think it is just an occasional thing, and hopefully my barrier that I've built will be enough to actually keep them out once and for good. And if need be, I can always, you know, take some bamboo and string it up along that fence and make that side, you know, less able for them to come through as well. So we'll see what happens. But you can see here's another one. You know, just the deer wiping them out. And for somebody who has their own company of spraying deer repellent, this isn't exactly good advertising, although I don't spray my own property there. This is new. This is just starting. This is the worst year I've ever seen for deer damage. Look, all that's gone. All these tops are gone. All that damage in there, all that munching and crunching. So in all the years I've been doing this, and it's been about 12 or 13 years now, this is the worst year I've ever seen for deer damage. I don't know what's going on, but the deer population must be just out of control this year. We've got minor damage on stuff up there. I just heard a really loud bang over here, and I don't know what it was. It sounded like something fell, like a branch fell on my kayak or something, which is possible, but I don't see anything. Well, I'll go check that out once we're done wrapping it up here. So I'm going to wrap it up here. Just these flowers and what's going on with the tree falling down and all that is all I really wanted to talk about. Kind of got distracted talking about the deer in the process there, but there you go. And by the way, the plants are buzzing around up there. I can see that hummingbird moth is up there too, unless that's actually a hummingbird doing that. So make sure you're subscribed. You don't want to miss anything I got coming up. I like to think it's always something good. So thanks for watching this one. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget, this one is my yard tour playlist. I'll see you real soon in the next one.